Welcome to my reviews of the first episode of the brand new Transformers series, EarthSpark. Yes, the show was supposed to debut on Paramount Plus on November 11th, but Nickelodeon UK decided to upload the first episode to their YouTube channel. So I'm here to get a jump start on my EarthSpark reviews. Without further ado, let's begin with the series premiere, Secret Legacy. In this episode, two new Transformers are born on Earth, and they must learn what it means to be a bot. We begin with Swindle and Hardtop breaking into some shipping containers as a little spider drone spies on them. By the way, Hardtop was originally a toy-only character from the Transformers Cybertron line, and he was repainted into his brother Swindle, inspired by the G.H.O.S.T Combaticon. So it's pretty appropriate that they're teamed up here. And while Hardtop retains his Cybertron toy's Dune Buggy mode, Swindle's alt mode is closer to his Transformers animated counterpart's SUV mode. So that's pretty neat. The first two characters in the show, and we already have Cybertron and animated references. Speaking of obscure references, when Optimus rolls up on them, we can spot some containers saying Mars X and Stax Co. Now, I've already mentioned that the Mars X ones could possibly be references to G.I. Joe in my previous video. But these Stax ones could be a very obscure reference to either the G2 Power Master Stax, that's Power Master by the way, with a space in between, not to be confused with Power Masters, like as in Power Master Optimus Prime. Or it could be a reference to the GoBot Stax, who did bear some resemblance to Optimus Prime, at least in vehicle mode. I like how Optimus doesn't roll up guns blazing like certain other Optimus Primes.
We will kill them all.
But instead, he walks up to Swindle and Hardtop and offers them the opportunity to surrender. Multiple times even. They reject it, which is just fine by Optimus's right-hand bot, Pt1. I must say that Alita is awesome. She is so cool. Easily handles herself in a fight, able to take down two Decepticons by herself without either of them able to land a single servo on her. Well, except for maybe one little shot from Swindle here. Also, I love how her doors make a skirt. Aww, so cute. I wish my bot mode had a skirt. I'd also like to point out how Alita uses her vehicle mode wheels in robot mode here. This is really cool. And it reminds me of how in the new Transformers RPG game, they mention how you can sometimes use your vehicle mode bits in robot mode and vice versa. Or is that only for the bots with the multi-changer class? I don't know, because Renegade Games cancelled my deluxe rulebook pre-order on me. Not like I'm bitter or anything like that. But that's beside the point. I just thought it was really cool. And it shows that the folks at Icon Creative Studios in Vancouver aren't afraid to think outside the box and really use the nature of Transformers to their advantage when it comes to making interesting fight scenes. I hope we get lots more robot fights in the future, and they can really put their imagination to the test. It's also really interesting how Hardtop pushes Swindle out of the way of the flying container, presumably to save his brother. Aww. So Decepticons aren't just bad guys and dumb goons in this show. They actually seem to care about one another. That's pretty sweet, and a side of the Decepticons that we very rarely see. But before the Autobots can capture Swindle too, they are swarmed by a group of Arachnamechs, allowing the con to escape. Hardtop is taken by G.H.O.S.T, the Human and Transformer Alliance organization. Just think of Nest from the movies. And Optimus says the thing.
There is more to this than meets the eye.
After the title, we are introduced to the Malto family, who just moved to the town of Witwicky from Philadelphia. Witwicky is obviously named after the human allies from G1, possibly literally. Robbie hates it here because he misses his friends, and takes off. While pursuing her brother, Mo's bike chain comes loose. And I couldn't help but notice an animation error. As Robbie stops his bike, his chain is clipping through the sprocket. Come on guys, this is only the first episode. You can do better than this. So, as we saw in the 5-minute teaser, the convoy carrying Hardtop is attacked by the Arachnamechs. Robbie and Mo stumble into a cave, where they touch a weird rock or crystal. The two terrans are born, and they quickly become friends, having the ability to sense each other's feelings, which kind of reminds me of the series Sense8, which I would recommend watching, but it's definitely for more mature audiences. What we didn't get in the previews was the voiceover of Quintus Prime, who is one of the original 13 Transformers created by their god, Primus. Quintus is played by Clancy Brown. Yes, that's right, Lex Luthor himself. He also played Silas in Transformers Prime. He's been in the MCU, and I'm sure there's a ton of other voice roles that you may know him for. But it'll be really interesting how they use this character in the series. Quintus Prime, of course, gets his name from the Quintessons, which he apparently created before they betrayed him. It's also suggested in the Covenant of Primus that Quintus actually invented the space bridges, which is very interesting considering what we learn later in the episode. Each of the original 13 have a magic artifact granted to them by Primus, and Quintus's artifact is the Ember Stone, which has life-giving powers. Sound familiar? So I'm guessing that this mysterious rock that the kids were playing with is actually the Ember Stone. Elsewhere, Dr. Mandroid is removing Hardtop's arm, in a scene that reminds me a lot of when Mech captured Breakdown in Prime. And it seems that the robot arm that we saw Mandroid with in the teasers was actually Hardtop's. Robbie and Mo hide Twitch and Thrash in the barn, much like how Charlie hid Bumblebee in the garage. Kind of. The kids give the Terrans Transformers comics to help them learn what Transformers are. Yes, it seems that in this universe, they also have comic books about Transformers. Much like how in the MCU, Captain America was a real person, and they had comics about him. The comic book covers feature very G1 renditions of Soundwave and Ravage, Bumblebee and Laserbeak, and finally, Sea Spray. The comic subtitle is More Than Meets the Eye, a common catchphrase in the Transformers franchise. It was in the theme song, More Than Meets the Eye. It was the title of the original series' pilot 3-parter, and among many other things, it was also the title of a highly praised Transformers comic book series published by IDW. I think that these comics are an homage to both the original series and the real-life IDW comics. Through our little bit of time with them, it seems that Thrash is more of a fun-loving free spirit, while Twitch is more competitive and tends to take things literally. It's pretty cute how Thrash assumes the poses of the characters on the covers of the comics. But Twitch is still cute too.
Tell me your secrets!
With the Terrans hiding in the barn, Bobby and Mo get their father to give us some G1 backstory.
On September 17th, 1984,
the exact date that the first episode of the original Transformers series aired. I love this whole sequence. The G1 style animation is so nostalgic. Heck, I think they literally just traced some parts. Cybertron looks exactly like Cybertron. Optimus and Megatron look exactly like themselves from their final battle in Transformers the movie. They even repeat the same lines.
One shall stand, one shall fall. Why throw away your life so recklessly?
one shall stand, one shall fall.
Ooh, can I do Megatron?
Why throw away your life so recklessly?
Adorable. They exposit that their mom was one of the human soldiers working alongside the Autobots in the war against the Decepticons. And we can spot Spike standing atop Beast's shoulder. Will he appear in the show? Who knows? They do more homages / straight up rips, with the Decepticons recreating their run in the G1 intro, and Megatron here looking just like he did in another scene from Transformers the movie. They explain that the Transformers arrived via Space Bridge, and that the Autobots destroyed it in order to protect the rest of the universe and somehow make a peace between the Autobots and Decepticons.
Huh. Maybe this Optimus guy has a point.
What? How? How does destroying a space bridge cause peace? Oh well. So, this origin story is obviously drastically different from the one in the G1 cartoon, where the Autobots and Decepticons crashed on Earth on board the Ark. They went into stasis lock, some Beast Wars happened while they were sleeping, and 4 million years later, they woke up in the present day. Or at least present day for the 80s. Also, literally the first thing the Decepticons did after waking up was begin construction of a new spaceship in order to get back to Cybertron. Why wouldn't the Decepticons in this universe do the same? Also, why not just build a new space bridge? Which the G1 Decepticons also did, after their ship plans failed. And how did the space bridge end up on Earth to begin with? The way G1 space bridges worked was that you needed a sending and receiving platform already where you wanted to transport to. So who built the one on Earth? And how did they get there? Oh well, maybe we'll find out later in the series. Also, the whole thing of Bumblebee staying behind to fend off the Decepticons, specifically Starscream, and then showing up later on with no explanation, not to mention this weird line.
Dad, what happened to Bumblebee?
He was never heard from again. But Bee might still be alive somewhere.
Seems very suspicious to me for some reason. They're acting like Bumblebee disappeared. And we know that Bee shows up in this series and seemingly plays a major role. I kinda want to predict that there's going to be some weird twist. And it'll turn out that Bumblebee has been a bad guy all along. Like he's either a Decepticon spy, or maybe he managed to kill Starscream, but his ghost possessed him, and he's been masquerading as Bee this entire time. No, that wouldn't work. Starscream shows up later in the G1 flashback. Well, anyways, Bee still seems kinda sus to me at the moment. It'll be interesting to see if some of the other characters in these flashbacks will show up in the series, and if they'll all have new looks. For example, we see Starscream here, and we know that the Seekers show up later, namely Skywarp and Novastorm, but they're both girls. So are all the Seekers girls now? When Starscream shows up, is she going to be a girl? That would be pretty awesome. What about the others? Grimlock, Bluestreak, Jazz, Thundercracker, Ironhide, Ratchet, Prowl, Cliffjumper, Gears, Grapple? Will they appear in the show? Will they have new designs? It's also really weird when we see Dot in the flashback, we also see a young Robbie and Mo. So either the war stretched out for about another 35 years and only just recently ended, or there's something else going on with these kids. Did something happen to Robbie and Mo? Were they accidentally killed or severely hurt by the Autobots? And they were somehow repaired or replaced with androids with their memories or something like that. Is that why Dot doesn't like Optimus? Is there going to be a big Transformers animated style reveal later in the series where we learn that Robbie and Mo are actually robots themselves? And that's why they were able to activate the Ember Stone. That's why they can communicate with Twitch and Thrash so easily. Their sleeves aren't actually sleeves, that's really their robot parts revealed. And that's why they moved from Philly, because it would help the new Robbie and Mo settle in better. And why their parents are so strict with the Wi-Fi. They don't want Robbie contacting his old friends, because if he did, he'd discover that they're all in their 40s now. Again, another crazy fan theory based on this single episode, which I'm sure I'll be totally disproven sooner or later. Dot Malto comes along the wreckage of the bridge attack, and soon so does Optimus and Alita. As I mentioned, Dot is nonplussed to see the Autobots, specifically Optimus. And we learn that Dot's new Forest Ranger job was all set up by Optimus in order to have her move closer to the Ghost headquarters. That is when Megatron arrives. And we end this first episode of EarthSpark with him scooping up Dot. Of course, if you've seen the teasers, we know that Dot and Megatron are actually friends. I can't wait for them to explain that one. Well, this was a pretty solid first episode. I think the show has a lot of promise. Although it's hard to judge as we've only just met most of our characters. And we've had little to no time to get a handle of their personalities, outside of maybe Robbie and Mo. But I have high hopes for this series.
Warm fuzzies. BFFs confirmed.
I love all the references to previous series, and not just G1, but others as well. The music is great. It feels very G1 at times, but I wish they would throw in some kind of homage to the original theme song. Well, let me know what you thought of this first episode of EarthSpark down in the comments. Remember to like, subscribe, and do all that other fun stuff. And I'll see you back here for another Transformers EarthSpark episode review very soon.